together one of Pastor Jay's messages to get it into ProPresenter and properly format it. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. As you can see, Pastor Jay will send his message in a Word format. He does it on a Mac, so sometimes it may look a little funny. And just to go through his message real quick, you'll see that he has black text. He also has green text. Anything in green is what he wants displayed on the screen and out to the live stream. And then he also has red text, which I will show you here. Is this here. This is scripture, but this is stuff that he's going to read from the Bible. It's not going to be displayed on the screen or go out to the live screen. So those are the three different colors. Typically on Sunday, he will have another message with yellows, and those yellows are edits. They're either deletions or they're additions or some kind of change. So in order for us to prep this for ProPresenter, the way I found to do it that makes it's a little bit more tedious, but it's more simplistic. And what it will do is actually do a lot of the work for us, and then we just got to do some of the formatting part. You'll see as we go along here. So anything on the screen is what we're going to want. So I'm going to delete any other text that he has. Find my mouse here, except for this top one. This top one is a title. Since it's a title, I'm going to take away the period, and I'm going to capitalize your. And then I'm going to leave a space. What that space does is that it indicates to ProPresenter that that's a new slide coming in, so make a new slide. So for every space after a paragraph or a sentence, there's going to be a new slide. So that's how ProPresenter separates that, and that's how we're going to format this for ProPresenter. A couple other things which I will show you in a minute on this. So we'll just get started with this. So the title slide will be bearing fruit. Now, there was a time when I told Pastor Jay I thought the brackets were the separation for the indicator for a new slide, but it's not. It's actually the space. But what the brackets do is they actually title the slide. So we're going to leave the brackets in, but we also want to make sure that in most of the cases, the brackets are the book, chapter, and verse, and the actual book version that he is using, in this case, LSB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and copy this here, and I'm going to go ahead and enter it here. And then I'm going to come back and hit enter. If I was to do this another way, and it may work different, I don't think it works differently in Word. It may work differently in Word, actually. If I was just to come back here and then paste it in, I would get that. It would be out of the format that we actually wanted in. So I'll just go ahead and paste it here, then come in between the bracket and the title here. So what this will do for us, it will give us the title slide. Then it'll also give what we're displaying on the screen as the book, chapter, and verse. He will usually put a space in between what's supposed to be on what he's doing. I don't know if he's got them in this text, in this message. Sometimes you'll see he'll have something like this. And then on verse 19, he may come in here and put a green bar. And what that indicates is that even though this is all the same, he wants these two on separate slides. And so we would just take this out and leave a break in there, a line space in there, and that would create our separate slide. But that's not in the case of this one, so I will put stuff back. So at this point, I don't like shorthand for Bible books, so I will go ahead and spell out John. I will copy this. Control-C. I'll come back here. Control-V, enter here, and then I'll come back and enter here. Again, this is just also we have our title slide in our book and chapter and verse that we display on the screen. Again, with Matthew, I'll spell out Matthew, and I'll do the same thing here. It doesn't matter what order you go in, just whatever makes it easier for you. However, I will have you note that here, all of a sudden, we've got this line centered. So what I will do is I'll come back behind here. I'll hit backspace, and it puts a space, and it brought the other word down. So I'll go ahead and undo that by putting a space in. This is actually centered, and most of the stuff is centered, but it's on two different lines, and it will change the formatting. So what I'm going to do is delete this so the 19 goes up there, and now it's all like one paragraph centered instead of two separate paragraphs. Now, we will come back to this. These little in between where he's got points are going to be important for us to know, and that's because this is where we may have to put in a blank slide. On a single line like this, he may not stay on it too long, so I may not put a single slide in. So we'll delete that. Now you'll notice here that he has appendices. I'm just going to take the appendices out. It's more of our format or standard, I should say, to keep the appendices out. If he had one where the appendices were in all the time, then yeah, I would probably put the appendices in. So I'll go ahead and put the brackets first, and then I'm going to hit enter, and then I'll just come back up to the brackets, and in the brackets I'll paste the Colossians. On your system, it may show Colossians as misspelled. You have to actually add it to your dictionary. I don't know why it does that. Here again, we're just going to go ahead and copy. I'll put my two brackets in and enter. Too many brackets. And then I'll come back and paste. Now, even though you skip a page here, if there was green down here that was part of this, green text that was part of this, it would still all fall under that until you hit the next space. Then maybe we'll come across that. I will put a space here. Like I said, it's, we'll have to come back to the original text, and I'll show you that in a moment once we finish this. Constitution, you see it's misspelled here. We'll just go ahead and spell it correctly. Now, this is supposed to be all one slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go ahead and give this the title for the slide. I'm going to go ahead and paste what I have, and then I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter. And I'm going to remove these spaces because I want this all on one slide at this point. If we need to change it within ProPresenter, we will. Okay, so now he's going to give a golf testimony, and he's going to talk about the Bill of Rights. Sorry, my mouse went off. So we're just going to highlight everything in black, and we're going to delete it. Delete. Okay, so now we're here. I'll take out extra spaces. Oops, Control Z. Put that center. Again, I don't like shorthand, so we will go ahead and spell out Romans, and we'll just copy and paste again. Now, it does not matter. Oops, let me get here. It does not matter if you have one or two spaces in here. As you can see, we have two spaces. It doesn't matter. As long as it sees that first space, it knows it's a new slide. If it sees a second space, it will not put a second new slide in. It will actually wait for text before the new slide. Here too, we're just going to take this out. Again, we're going to remove the appendices. We're just going to ahead, put that up there. Copy this. Come in front. I'm going to put in my brackets. Go back and paste. And then I have that. Now again, everything in black or in red will not be displayed, so we're just going to highlight all that and we will delete it. And that is the end of his actual message today. So you can see it's not very long with what he has for being displayed. Now that we have this makes it easier to import into ProPresenter. And we're going to go ahead and import in ProPresenter, and then I'm going to show you how to use the reflow editor and the slide editor so we can actually get this formatted into the format that we would like to see displayed on the screens or TVs in the in-house production and what we will see on the live stream. So with that, we are going to save this file. We're going to go to save. I'm not going to hit save because it will overwrite what I have. What I'm going to do is And I've done this once, so I'm just going to go ahead and click this, but I'm going to save it under a different name. And it's important for it to be in a different name. And I don't know why that brought that up. Let me go File, and we'll do Save As. You got to do the Save As. That's why it came up with a different name. I am going to put this on my desktop. And as you can see, I have an edited version, so I'm just going to hit Edit again and hit Save. Replace file. Don't worry about the pop-up advertisement. This is free software, so you don't have Microsoft Office 365. You don't want to get the account. You don't want to pay. I use WPS. It's a free program. It does everything Microsoft Office does. However, I will make one change here because I do want the title in on this. So I'll go ahead and put brackets. And then I'll just go ahead and separate the two there. And then I'll just go ahead and hit Save. With it saved, I'm going to close, but then I'm also going to bring up my original one that he sent. And the reason why I'm doing this is because when we go through the reflow editor, or when we go through the slide editor, we're going to want to know where he's possibly going to have periods where he's going to talk for more than a couple minutes. That way we can blink out the screen. So something like this. Definitely this. We want the screen blank. We don't want the last text up there when he's talking about something totally different. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and go to ProPresenter. Okay, in ProPresenter, what we're going to do is we're going to come to File. We're going to come down to Import, and then we're going to say File. And we're going to look for the file that we just edited. In this case, I put edited at the end of it, so I know that's the file. Now, it should not matter if it's open. Actually, I think it does in ProPresenter, so make sure the file is closed just to be safe. I'll go ahead and click on it. Now, we got import settings. There's two types of settings we do. We do line break and we do paragraph. The line break is when we do music, and when I make a video for music, I will show you that. The paragraph is what we want for the messages. We want one paragraph per slide. So that's where, if we go back to here, and I say this is one paragraph here, is because there's a blank up here and there's a blank down here. That delineates the paragraph. So when we go back to ProPresenter, on our import, we want it to be one paragraph. I've also created a custom theme for the in-house for our church. It's called, the theme is called Bible Background. We have an in-house, which is what's displayed on the TVs and on the light, or just on the TVs in the sanctuary. I have a lower third that's displayed out on the live stream, and then I have a blank which we'll be using for when we are into the slide editor. In our case, 1920, and we are going to select the in-house for the theme. We're going to put it in our sermons for the library, and we're going to add it to our Sunday playlist. Once we do that, we're going to go ahead and click Edit, and what this is going to do is open up the reflow editor for us. Typically, it's not this big. I just had it open. It typically opens this big, so I just enlarge it so everybody can see it. You'll notice that we have these yellow triangles with exclamation signs. What this is saying is that the text is outside of the text box that we had made in-house or for the live stream. We will get rid of these. In some cases, this is not accurate. It'll show it that it's outside the box for clipping, but it's not actually doing it. It's just close enough for it to say that it is. So the first thing we want is that we've got our title slide, which is good. Nothing wrong with that. We're going to go to the next slide. Right after book, chapter, verse, I'll go ahead and put a space in. That's our custom standard formatting. Since I do have the yellow exclamation mark here, I'm going to split this between verses 27 and 28 to see if I can get that to go away. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. So I'm going to take out the extra space that was there. So if I, get back here. So it was normally like this. I'm going to take out the extra space. Then I'm going to come down here where it says Insert Slide Break. And I'm going to click on that. And you'll notice it created another slide separating 27 and 28 and taking away that exclamation mark. So we're good there. I'm going to go down to John 15 here. Again, we keep that separation between book, chapter, verse, and the actual verse. Same with Matthew 28. I'm going to go ahead, come down, put that space in there. This actually has 3 verses, 18, 19, and 20. So I'm going to first try and break this at 19. I'll take out that extra space, and then I'll insert a slide break. And as you can see, it puts that no more yellow, so I'm not even going to worry about this. We will take care of the other formatting for all these slides in the slide editor once we get this imported. Colossians. Go ahead, come down to Colossians. I'm going to put that break in there, and that looks good. The next Colossians. Oh, and you can see here we got the Bill of Rights Constitution. This did not get broken out right. So if I go back and I look at this, or I look at the one that I edited anyways, and I want to show you where my mistake was if I see it. Right here, you notice that I did not put a space here. So if we go back to ProPresenter, it said, okay, there was no space. This is all one slide. So now I don't get my title slide, nor did I get the slides broken up. So the first thing I'm going to do is break up these 2 slides. I'm going to insert a break here. I'm going to go ahead and just do this right away. Let's just do this first. Work on one slide at a time, going in order. Order is important. And now we look, slides good. Constitution, Bill of Rights. You're going to go ahead and delete the bracket 1 since it won't give us our title now. I'm sure there's a way to edit the titles for the slides. I just don't know of them at this point. I'll go ahead and insert the break because I'm going to use this Constitution, Bill of Rights as a title. Now you notice we still have a yellow here, but as this is all one piece that I really don't want broken up, I'm going to fix this in the title editor. And I will, or not title editor, but the slide editor, and I will show you that when we come to it. Going to Romans. Hit that space again. Now you can see there's a lot of text in here in yellow. So I'm going to break this at 30. We've been doing good here. I'm going to try 32 first. I'm going to take out that space, then hit insert break. And you see that we still have yellow here. So I'm going to hit Control Z, and that's going to put that back. And then I'm going to do it after, insert the slide break after, or right before 31. So come down here, click on insert slide break. You notice, okay, that looks good. So now I'm still in trouble here. I still got stuff in the yellow. There's verses 31, 32, 33, 34, and 35. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this at 34 because I figure I can get about 4 lines of these on one display. So I'm going to take out the space, hit insert break. And you notice that I did get 34 separated with no problems, but I still got problems with the other verses above it. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Control Z. And then instead of doing it at 34, I'll go back here and put the space back in. Now I'm going to do it at 33. Backspace and then insert slide break. And the reason there is because I want to go in order. I don't want just like, oh, well, this one's okay, but this one was okay, but this one's not. So I got to break this up. Now it's like one verse, and then 3 verses. I just want to get as many verses on the slide as possible going in this order. So now I have 33 through 35. Or actually, it's 36. There's 36 verses in here. So I'm going to break this at 35. I'm going to split this up so it's 2 verses on each slide. And that should take care of our yellows for us. Come down to the last one, Romans. Again, insert my break. This is verses 1 through 3. I'm going to go ahead and break this up after 2, or right before 2. Insert my slide break. And I still got some yellow. So I will break one more time for 3, as this is the end. I don't mind doing, and sometimes I don't mind doing 1 verse per slide, depending on the verse and how long it is, and those sorts of things. Now that we have this all done, no yellows except for this one that I'm going to take care of slide editor, I'm going to go ahead and title this. We know what the title is. It's right here. I'm going to just copy that. Maybe. Control C, come up here, Control V. I'm going to put in the pastor's name. Oops. Sometimes the pastor's name's hard to spell. And then I'm just going to put the year in. This is going to be 2023. We'll go ahead and import. Since I've done this once already, it's going to say that, hey, you already have a version. What do you want to do? I'm just going to say apply all and write over. Now what it's going to do is it puts us in a Sunday playlist at the bottom here. It also puts it in sermons. So if we look in the sermons, we'll see bearing fruit in your vocation. And you can see I misspelled the first one I actually put in here. But we're going to edit the playlist. We don't need to worry about sermons. It puts it at the bottom. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move it up into sermon right under message title slide. The message title slide is what we could use to kick off after announcements and prayer for the pastor. Pastor may say a few words. After the few words, we click on this background to have the Bible background up, and that Bible background will be here. It'll be on all these slides for us. We don't need to put it on every slide. So now I'm going to go into the slide editor. And how you go into slide editors? You click on edit here. Slide editor will come up. Okay, so I know this is the title slide. So what I want to do with this text, I'm going to click on text here. I'm going to center left and right, and then I'm also going to center up and down so it's in the center. Now you notice that I've got a purple outline, blue outline here. This is our text box. And the reason why it doesn't go all the way down, because when this goes on the background, this Bible is going to be in here. And this comes just up, this text box comes up just before the Bible. So with that, I'm going to do, since it's a title slide, I want to make it stand out, not just be centered. I'm also going to make it bold and italic. And then I'm going to increase the size until it fits across the screen left and right. That looks good there. Okay, we're done. So we click off that, that's what it looks like. Now what I'm going to do is go back to the original document he gave me, and I'm going to look. Okay, so bearing fruit's going to be the title. I will keep the title up through all of this till he gets to this first one. So if I go back to ProPresenter, we know that my next slide is going to be this. Now our standard format is that this will all be yellow. So we come over here, we highlight it. The Bible versions we don't put in yellow, we leave that as white. So we'll highlight the Bible chapter verse. We'll come down here to our color picker and we will choose the yellow. Now we're going to go ahead, if it has a scripture number, we're going to highlight the scripture number. We're going to do two things here. One is we're going to superscript it. And to superscript it, you come over to this little gear, click on it, and you're going to select this A with a little symbol above it. And you can see that put it to superscript. And the scripture numbers we also are going to put in yellow. And you can see that's done. That's formatted the way we have it. If there's no title or book, chapter, verse, we're just going to go ahead and highlight the scripture numbers, and we'll have to scan through to make sure that we get all the numbers. And yes, sometimes I do miss one or two. Again, we're just going to superscript, make yellow, and we're done. Now, this was the first part, and you can see by Genesis, we have two slides under this one. So I know in his original document, this was his first green highlight, his first paragraph. So I'm going to go back and look at his document real quick. Okay, we can see John is there, and there's nothing in between that, in between Genesis and John. So I'm not going to add a blank slide. I'll just go ahead and go to John, and we'll format John. Okay, and then there's Matthew. Again, check the document. Right after John comes Matthew. So we'll go to Matthew. Again, we'll just go ahead and get the highlighting done, the formatting. Now I'm going to check because it's 18 through 20. I only have verse 18 here. So I'm going to go ahead and superscript that and color it. And then I will move to the next slide in Matthew. Okay, so we know we have 19 and we're going to have 20. So we'll highlight both of those at the same time by using the control key. We will superscript that, and then we will go ahead and yellow. And when I say use the control key, you highlight the first one by double clicking on it, press the control key, and then highlight the second one by double clicking on it. Now we go to Colossians. So I will go back to his document real quick. And I see that he's got black text in between Matthew and Colossians. The question is this going to be long enough for us to put a blank slide in where he's going to be talking about this a while? Typically not. He may even skip over it, so I'm not going to worry about a blank slide. We'll go ahead and format Colossians. And it's just the one verse, so we'll just go ahead and highlight this. You notice that this time he did not put a verse number in here. I am not going to add it. I haven't come to a decision, or we haven't come to a decision as a group if we want to go ahead and add them or take them out even on one particular verse, since it's already marked up here. So then we have the second Colossians. So again, I'm going to check his document, and the second Colossians comes right away. So we'll go ahead and format the second Colossians. And you'll notice that this is 23 through 34, which I do believe is a typo. I believe it's supposed to be 24 if I look at his document. He does say 34 here, but he only has 23, 24. And it does not go back to Colossians after that. It goes to Romans. So in this case, I will make the correction, even though I didn't catch it for this last Sunday, and make this actually 24. Because it's just the two verses. Again, we'll just go ahead with our normal formatting, our normal highlighting. Again, we'll double click here in between the 23 because it's easier to highlight both that way. Hit Control, go in between 24, double click. They're both highlighted. Go ahead, superscript both and color both yellow. Now going back to our document, we can see after the second Colossians, he's going to be talking about some things. So we're going to want to put a blank slide in here. So to do that, we're on Colossians, it's highlighted. So we want to come over here. We want to make sure that we have our background. We select our Bible background and then blank. And it will put a blank slide in there after the Colossians. So if you can see the Colossians here, then we go blank. And then we're going to go to the Constitution Bill of Rights. Because that's what he's going to do here after he does this part. He's going to go to the Constitution. So first thing I want to do is I want to center this. You notice how when I highlighted or double clicked in the box, it showed me the words that were outside of this text box. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'm first going to center this because I want that centered as a title. I'm going to italicize it and bold it. Now I'm going to come down here, start here in front of the Congress and highlight all of this. And then I'm going to come to my text size, and I'm just going to click it down one at a time until everything is inside that box like this. If grievances was on a single line by itself, I would continue to shrink this down until it was on one single line. We do not like single words on the last line. I know it happens, we just don't like it. So now that that's formatted, this is actually at 75, as you can see here, still readable on the screen in-house and still readable on the live stream. And this is at 80. And this being highlight or bold, has a bold effect and an italics effect, gives it a nice little title effect. So I'm going to go back to this document real quick. After the Constitution, he goes into all this. So we will need a blank slide. So we'll go back to this. We have that highlighted again. We're just going to add. We're going to add a blank. Now we are in Romans. So here we're just going to go ahead format. Then you can see that, where the next title slide comes in, so we know we can just format all this. We won't need any blanks. And 32. Now you notice that how it highlighted everything. 32, I never put the space back. So I'm going to put it back here and do my highlights again. That way I get just the numbers. Okay. 3, 34. And come down here. Oops. If you miss, you could fiddle around with this, just easier to get rid of them and highlight them over again. Okay, so now we're down to the next paragraph that he had in his document, which was Romans. So back to the document. This is the first Romans we did, so we're going to check. Okay, so now he has this here, and he's talking about on the heels of Romans, we have this. So we're not going to put a blank slide in here because I don't think he's going to stop. If he does stop, there's things that we can do in ProPresenter to just go back and hit a blank before that or something, should we need to. Again, it's just a matter of highlighting and give it in the format. If it's a single character, you want to put that cursor so it's blinking in front of the 1, and then double click, and then it will get that actual single number. We'll go ahead, color it, and then superscript it. We'll go down to the next slide, which is verse 2. Again, we're going to superscript and color. And we'll go down to verse 3. Again, and before I could do this, I want to show you something. There may be a time where you try to double click in here, and maybe that box moves. All you got to do is hit Control-Z, and then come back and do it again. If the box moves, just hit Control-Z until you can actually get your cursor in there, highlight stuff without it moving, and then do your formatting. Now you're going to notice this is the last slide. Well, typically after he talks, even in this message, or even after stuff's on the screen, even in this message, he's got stuff he's going to say. Even if there was nothing else after this, we would want to put a blank slide in to throw that up on the screen. So we're just going to go ahead and insert a blank slide. Now that we have the slide edits done, we're going to go back to our show. And we can see now, and if you're doing this at the church, you can actually turn on the TV and see what it looks like in the TV. In my little display over here, let me enlarge this a little bit. I'm going to watch the in-house, which is our TVs. So I'm just going to start from here. And this actually starts the countdown timer. You saw it turn green here. So on the stage screen and back, Pastor Jay would see the timer, what time it is, and he would see the same thing that they see in front. He just has the added bonus of a timer and what time it is. Then we'll go ahead and click on this. It looks good. If I want to see what it looks like on the live stream, I can just click live stream, and you can see what it looks like on the live stream. Clicking on this message 1 first slide kicks off the live, doesn't kick off the live stream, but it does kick off the, what they're called props. Pastor Jay, I got one for each pastor. So at the church, you will notice I have 3 of these blocks. One for Jay, one for Russ. I'm sorry, one for Pastor Jay Caviani, one for Russ Heder, and one for Pastor Jay Walls. So, if I mean Pastor Russ Heder. Sorry, Russ, didn't mean to offend you. So that will automatically start that stuff. We don't have to worry about it. Go here. Now on the live stream, I do have it taken out carriage returns and spaces, so it just fits all nicely. Again, we can look at what it looks like in-house by going to in-house. It looks like that. We can see here, it looks good. If I want to check live stream, it will, well, in this case, there wasn't enough text, but if there's enough text, it will actually make the text smaller to fit in. We can go down there. We can come back to the in-house and we see that it looks good. We don't have any yellows. I'm not too worried about this, so I'll just breeze through it. Make sure I didn't miss anything. Make sure it looks good on the screen. Constitution, Bill of Rights, that looks good. Now you'll notice like I have this centered on the live stream or on the in-house and in that slide. However, the live stream will not center it. It will just put it all right there. And you can see as I use two different sizes, the second size comes through smaller. You can actually notice that. You know, make sure our blanks work. When the blanks works, there's nothing here. In-house, we're good with our blanks. Again, we're just going to click through this stuff. Again, if I look at the live stream here, because I've got this different size text, it's going to fit it in there nicely. Same with this. This, nice. We go back to, go back to in-house. It all looks good. I am not worried about this service at all with how it is going to look on the screens or on the live stream. In the service, we do that. We also have a closing image, which does something else, but that's a whole different story. Now, if you have downloaded ProPresenter at home to put messages together, services together, whatever the case may be, what you need to do is export this file so you can import it into the computer or ProPresenter at the church. So how you do that is that you're clicking on the message, you have it highlighted. You can right click and say export as bundle. It's going to come up where you want to export this. I'm going to say desktop. I'm going to leave it there, the title as it is, and say save. It already has one. I'm going to overwrite because this one's nicer. So real quick, I am just going to take it out of, I'm going to delete these out of sermons and out of Sundays. Actually, since I'm deleting them out of sermons, they will automatically delete out of the Sunday service because I want to import it for you just to show you what it's going to look like when I import. Okay, so if I go to Sunday service, you'll notice that now under my sermon, I don't have it. So when you're at the church, you got it on your thumb drive, whatever the case may be, you want to go to File, Import. It's still a file, even though it has a bundle, and you'll notice it because it's got the little ProPresenter color as an emblem. You click on that, it will automatically add it. It's going to ask where you want to select it for or save it for a library. It's going to be in sermons. Click OK. And you will notice that also it adds it to the Sunday service at the bottom. Again, we're just going to slide that up and we're set, good to go. And that's how you put a service together. So hopefully you enjoyed everything that you saw here. If you have any questions, please contact me. Feel free to reach out to me at the church. Thank you.